coming down so quickly and being present for this presentation today. First and foremost, I know everybody is anxiously awaiting an extended break, so enjoy your break, be safe, have a nice time, and before you know it, we'll be back here December 3rd. So the time will go quickly, but enjoy the next 6 or 7 days because you deserve it. You've worked hard, you've had a great fall, and we look forward to rolling that into a great winter season. When you get back, you'll have your midterm exams, and for those of you that are seniors, there'll be 1 semester left before you graduate, which is crazy. And we talked about that at the start of the school year. So today, we're very lucky with our relationship and partnership with St. Luke's Hospital. Their pulmonologist group reached out to us and said, hey, we're giving presentations in the area about the myths and the facts of vaping. And all of you have heard the news reports. I'm not telling you anything you don't know or haven't heard, but you've heard the reports from national news networks to local publications to local networks about the things that are happening to people, especially young people who are vaping. And there's answers for some of these things, and there may not be answers to some of these things. And today we have with us Dr. Corwin. Dr. Corwin, as I mentioned, is a pulmonologist with St. Luke's Hospital, who has given up his morning of seeing patients and their care to be here with you, to talk with you about vaping, to give you factual information to make a decision, on what potentially could affect your life way beyond your academic preparation and all those other things we do here at Palisades. Because at the end of the day, if you don't have your health, you can't excel and realize your potential and all those other things that we're trying to prepare you for as you get ready to leave Palisades High School. So I'm going to ask you for the next 40 minutes. It's a short window. Dr. Corwin, in many ways, has condensed the presentation a bit, and I appreciate that, so thank you. But for the next 40 minutes, I need you to give Dr. Corwin your attention, put the cell phones away, put the Chromebooks away, and just be present, because you might learn something today that you didn't know. You might learn something today as fact that you previously thought was myth or vice versa. But ultimately, when you walk out of here today, we're not telling you whether or not you should vape. That's your decision. We're just giving you the information to make a good one. So please give a big welcome to Dr. Corwin.
All right, good morning guys. Thanks for having me here. I realize I am one of the last things that stands between you and a very long weekend, okay? So the reason I'm here today is for you guys, okay? I want this to be very interactive. I want you guys to ask me questions. I want you guys to get an idea of what's going on. With the vaping, you guys have absolutely seen it online, social media, TV, whatever, about vaping. You guys have seen the effects. The hard part out is there's a lot of things that are just not true that are being kind of propagated. There's a lot of things that are not true that are not being that are being told to you guys. And having spent a lot of time kind of going through this stuff, it's extremely difficult to tell what's true, what's right, what's real, from what's absolutely just bad information for you guys. You guys are adults. You make adult decisions. You make adult choices. But what comes with adult decisions and adult choices are adult consequences. And there are real consequences to the vaping. And again, I get to go home at the end of the day to my family the same way you guys get to go home too. What I want you guys to do when you go home is make good decisions. Again, it's up to you. I don't follow you around. I don't knock a cigarette or a vape pen or whatever out of your hand. But I would like to make you guys smart enough and confident enough to know that it's the right decision. So kind of, why am I here? we're gonna talk a whole bunch about the vaping. We're gonna talk about what it is, how it hurts you, what they're doing, why they're doing it, how they're doing it. We're gonna cover everything about vaping in 40 minutes. So, have you guys seen this? This girl here on your left is one of the first ones. This was a few months ago. She's roughly an 18-year-old girl, otherwise healthy, in the ICU. The ICU is the intensive care unit. That's kind of like the last line of defense for the sickest of the sick. That's where we do the medically induced comas. So those people on the right are my partners. Those are the lung and the ICU doctors that take care of people that can't breathe and the sickest of the sick. So who am I? What are my jobs? I'm a lung doctor, or fancy word is a pulmonologist. So I deal with people that have colds, coughs, shortness of breath, all sorts of things like that. And a lot of what I deal with is what people put in their lungs, whether it's things they work with or things they use recreationally. The other half of my job is an ICU doctor. So ICU, again, is the intensive care unit. You know, they like to show this on Grey's Anatomy or whatever, the House or whatever shows are on now, I don't even know. But what they do now is the medically induced comas. Has anyone ever heard of a medically induced coma? On a breathing machine. That's my job. I put those tubes and lines and everything else into you. Now the reason you get those things is because you can't breathe, that you would die without them. So the way I kind of like to think about this is shortness of breath is probably one of the scariest things. Who here has been short of breath at some point? I have a quarter of you guys who have ever been short of breath. No one's ever gone running, dancing, singing, anything and become short of breath. Okay? Kind of makes sense. You're playing soccer, basketball, football, dancing, and you get short of breath, right? You ran really hard, you practiced. Now, how many people are short of breath just sitting here right now? Can you imagine fighting to get air in, like you've just done sprints, like you've done back and forth running? That's okay, but sitting here unable to breathe is probably one of the absolute most terrifying things. It's equivalent of drowning on dry land. Everyone, for the last time since you've been here, since you woke up for this morning, you're breathing, 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 not even thinking about it. It's one of the most terrifying things for my patients when you have to think about every breath, or you're not even sure if you're gonna get that next breath in. It sounds kind of silly, it sounds kind of crazy now, but watching the people just terrified because they can't get it in is horrendous. So that's part of the reason I'm coming here, is I want to come to your house, I want to come to your school and talk to you here, because you sure don't want to come see me at my house. You don't want to see me at my work. If you see me at my work, you're having a really, really bad day. So it's easier for you guys to understand what's going on now. So when we first started talking about this a few months ago, this was the initial slide I put in. You can see that there's 6 deaths scattered across the country. Then we updated it. Okay, this was about a couple weeks ago, 21 deaths. It's across the pond to the UK now. And then the most recent, 47 deaths. Deaths, like final deaths. The thing that you guys need to know about this isn't the old, this isn't like your great-grandparents. These aren't people that have heart disease and diabetes and are otherwise really, really sick. These are people actually not that much older than you, not that much different than you. And unfortunately, I do have firsthand experience with this. I do have 3 patients, a 17-year-old guy, he was a pitcher around here, not too far away from here. I have an 18-year-old girl, and there's another 21-year-old I have. These are kids that I've personally taken care of, that I've personally been involved with. And I can tell you, until they started vaping, until they started putting this trash into their lungs, they were fine. These weren't the sickest of the sick. And actually, on the news the other day, did anybody see what happened in Michigan? That the first person had to get their lungs transplanted. They had to get a brand new set of donated lungs because their lungs were so destroyed from the vaping. They got a lung transplant. With a lung transplant, that's not like getting a new knee. That these are medications that this person must take for the rest of their life, so their body doesn't fully reject this medication. And when I mean reject, it's like getting a cold where your body's just trying to fight it. It thinks these other set of lungs are not supposed to be there. So there's real consequences to the stuff you're doing. So what is E-Valley? E-Valley is the e-cigarettes vaping associated lung injury. It's a fancy term that we use in our medical journals. But what does it do? It has cough, shortness of breath. A lot of people get abdominal pain, diarrhea, nausea. It kind of feels like you have the cold. You know, oh, I'm gonna stay home from school today, I don't feel so good. But the difference that comes with this is you can't breathe. And I keep coming back to that because that's the most terrifying part. It's just not being able to get that next breath in. So, we've seen approximately 2,300 cases across the country. It doesn't sound like a lot, but trust me, it is. 47 people died directly because of this. What we're seeing is about half are under age 24. Okay? And probably another quarter of them are under age 18. So these are people that look like you. These are your friends, these are people you know. These are not that different from you. So the idea that this doesn't happen to me, the idea that this can't happen to me, is just false. So then, the next question is, what's causing this? We're still working on figuring that out. One of the things that we found recently is this vitamin E. Have you guys heard about the vitamin E stuff in the news? So this is kind of interesting. So, and we'll talk a little more about this, but one of the things that comes when people get really sick from vaping is we have to do what's called the bronchoscopy. So that's one of the fancy terms that we use. A bronchoscopy is when you come into the hospital and you can't breathe. We put you to sleep. While you're asleep, we take a camera, stick it through your nose or stick it through your mouth into your lungs. I drive it kind of like playing a Wii or a video game, and then we get out into the real far part of your lungs, squirt water in there, and suck it back out and try and figure out what's going on. So that way we can figure out why you can't breathe, why you're so short of breath. So when they did this on people with the vaping, they looked at 30 people with it, and all 30 people they found this in. So what is vitamin E? Vitamin E, if you guys use moisturizers or lotions, you'll find a lot of vitamin E. It's just really good for the skin. But guess what it's really bad for? Exactly, lungs. It's not meant to be heated up. It's not meant to be inhaled. It's not meant to be breathing in. And now kind of one of the punchlines to the talk is you're like, cool, fine, just don't, I'll still vape it, just don't do the vitamin E. That makes sense, right? But guess what? Vitamin E is in most of the products that they do. I don't care if it's the candy flavored ones, I don't care if it's the nicotine flavored ones, I don't care if it's the THC, I don't care if it's the dank vape, I don't care what it is. They're finding vitamin E in all this stuff. So one of my take-home points here is, there is no, I don't do that. There is no, I don't use that. There is no, mine's safe. So guess what? Of those 2,300 people injured, they all said the same exact thing that you guys are saying. I don't care what convenience store, what friend, what location, what vape shop you buy it from. It's all implicated in there. So, here's just some examples of what's going on. So you see this girl here with her cool Instagram page showing off with her vaping. But then what happens to her? I used to tell myself, she used to tell herself, it won't happen to me, but it can and will happen to you too. Because this is what happened to her afterwards. Okay. She was placed on a ventilator. She was placed in a medically induced coma. Talking to her siblings, they were concerned that their sister, their teenage sister, would never ever come home again. I think that's pretty powerful. Do you guys have siblings? For those of you that do, can you imagine that your sibling was vaping something, then all of a sudden they look like this in a medically induced coma, and you're not even sure if they're going to live? I mean, it's real world. It sounds so far away, sounds so foreign, but I can promise you this has happened in the Lehigh Valley. This has happened in the hospitals I work at. I have taken care of these patients personally. So here, not only is the time that it happens bad, but the downstream consequences, the long-term consequences. You guys are young adults. Your brains are still developing. Your lungs are still developing. This stuff damages us. This kid here was doing it. His lungs have aged to the age of your great-grandparents just from vaping. So it's not just what happens now, it's the long-term damage that happens with this. And your lungs don't heal like that. They still say the damage is kind of permanent, so it's hard. So here, again, another example, 17-year-old kid, normal 17-year-old kid, and this is what he looks like then. This is the breathing tube in. This is mechanical ventilation. This is the intensive care unit. This is the results of vaping. So what happened to him was he spent 18 days in the hospital. He lost 30 pounds. He had to relearn how to walk again, all because of vaping. So what I encourage you guys to think about, is it worth it? Who wants to spend the next 2.5 weeks in the hospital? Who wants a piece of plastic in their throat so they can't talk? Who wants to be fed through a tube going through their nose or their stomach? All for vaping. So I challenge you guys, how safe is it? That's what I want you guys to leave here. You guys are told it's safe, it's safe, it's safe, it's better than smoking. I would argue against that. So here's my world. This is what I deal with every day. These are chest x-rays. The chest x-ray you see on the left is a nice crystal clear chest x-ray. The one you see on the right, in the lung fields, has a whole bunch of white stuff on it. That's how I can tell the vaping. That's how I can tell the injury that's happened. So what happens after this? So the top left, when you can't breathe, when you're scared for your life because you can't get the air in, hopefully you call 911, come right to the hospital, right? Then we admit you to the hospital. Once we admit you to the hospital, it's my job to figure out why you can't breathe. Part of the tools I need to do that are the bronchoscopy. So the one up the top right is they take you, put you to sleep, and I put that camera into your lungs to try and figure out what's happening. If you get sick enough, you end up down there on life support in the ICU. Again, medically induced comas, breathing tubes, my world. So, while you guys are stuck with me hanging out on Thanksgiving and the holidays and everything else, this is what you're missing. The football games, soccer games, ballet, singing, dancing, all the other activities that your friends are able to do. Meanwhile, you're stuck in the hospital with me. Again, is it worth it? I would say absolutely not. So CDC, the Center for Disease Control. For those of you under 18, you can't do it, right? It's illegal to get, to buy, and the laws are changing kind of as we speak for the better. So don't do it, is the short answer. Is they're telling you is that this hurts your lungs, this damages your lungs permanently. So just don't do it. So here's a whole bunch of myths that we're gonna come across, and I think this is what's so dangerous. These are what's get told to you as truths. These are what you guys hear about, and this is the wrong information that you guys are using to unfortunately make bad decisions. So I think my job here is to dispel or kind of frankly crush these myths and make you guys understand truly what you're doing. So, has anybody heard this? Vaping is just water vapor. No one's heard that? Okay, I got a few head nods, I'll take it. It's not, you're not just breathing in a cloud. It's not this magical pillow of water that you're breathing in. This is how you're doing it, right? So essentially, there's a lot of different ways. It can look like a pipe, it can look like a hookah, it can look like a cigarette, it can look like a jump drive. But basically you have a battery which heats up a coil which vaporizes the liquid. And these liquids aren't just water. There's a whole bunch of chemicals that they need to stabilize it, to put it on the shelf, to give it the flavor, to give it all that stuff that makes it a nicotine delivery device. That's where the damage comes in. So, kind of how did we get here? They see that 10-year challenge on Facebook. You guys are probably too young for most of that stuff. But you see this, and you see what it originally looks like. It looks just like a cigarette, right? Well, that's why they meant it. They meant this to be as a transition from people smoking regular cigarettes, because they wanted the idea that they were smoking a regular cigarette. 10 years later, it looks nothing like a regular cigarette. They want you to not evoke smoking. Because smoking's not cool anymore. You know, for my generation, for my parents' generation, for my grandparents, smoking was a lot different. You guys are way too smart for that. You guys know that the heart disease, the lung disease, the long-term effects of smoking are terrible. So you guys don't do it. So they need new customers. So they're trying to make you guys say, oh, this is not smoking. This is just vaping. It's magical. It's so great. So they want you to think nothing like smoking. So they make you guys use these, not make you guys, but they provide it in these kind of devices to avoid that. So here you can see a whole bunch of different electronic nicotine delivery service devices. So this is what they think. It's just a cloud I'm breathing in. But in actuality, you have volatile organic compounds. Nicotine, ultrafine particles, cancer-causing agents, heavy metals, nickel, tin. Then you have the flavoring agents, diacetyl. It's kind of what they use in popcorn. Personally, I'd rather eat my popcorn than smoke my popcorn, but that's basically what's in these devices. That's what's in these liquids that you guys are breathing in. So again, I challenge the idea that this is just vaping, this is just water. So diacetyl is the popcorn. Formaldehyde, which you guys see in science class, preserve the frogs and the toads and stuff you guys are dissecting. You have acetone, which is the nail polish remover. You have cadmium, which is in the batteries. Again, not just vaping, not just water, not just safe stuff. This is all the junk that you guys are putting in your lungs. And you can imagine the damage that this causes. When you compare it to a traditional cigarette, you can see the methane, which is sewer gas, arsenic, which is poison. You have the batteries, you have the rocket fuels, you have all these other things that you guys are putting in. This is not just the fruit of the earth that you're lighting up smoking. These are all the chemicals needed to keep it shelf stable so they can keep it going to you guys. So there's real damage that happens from smoking. You guys have heard of the cancers. You guys know about lung cancer and COPD, heart disease and kidney disease and brain damage and eye damage and all the such. But what we see with vaping are similar things. It does cause addiction, and we'll talk about that extensively later. But it does cause irritation, blurry vision. It causes cough. It messes up your lungs, heart rate. It messes up your heart, skin, stomach, nausea, vomiting. These are all the side effects of the vaping. There's real damage that happens with this. Now, but the good question is, you guys are young, and the vaping companies want to keep taking your money for a long, long time. So if they keep taking your money for a long, long time, what's the real world effects? I don't know. What if you do this for 10, 15, 20 years? I have no idea. The first vape pens came out around 2002, increased in popularity around 2007, and just exploded in the last 5 years. I don't have 15, 20, 30, 40 years of data to say what kind of cancer you'll get from this, what kind of damage to your heart you'll get from this. I don't know. So guess what? Do you think the vaping companies know what's going to happen to you guys? They have no idea. You're their guinea pigs. You're the lab rats. You're the lab mice. You're the people that I'm going to be reading about in my journals, trying to figure out what happened. We have no idea what the long-term outcome is. Do you guys think that the vaping companies care? No. They just want your money. Period. It's a business. So, nicotine-free, no way I'll become addicted. I just do the candy flavors. I do strawberry or bubblegum. The short answer is it doesn't matter. A, the vaping companies are they have no reason to tell you what's in there. They have no legal responsibility to tell you what's in there. They could say no nicotine on the package, and guess what? They could put a ton of nicotine in there. It doesn't matter. You can't trust it there because they have nobody double checking them. So when they sell you this stuff, and it looks like they use the same font, colors, everything else to make you think it's candy, all they want to do is get you addicted. They want you to keep coming with their money. Give me more money is essentially what they're trying to do here. There's nothing good about this. So what you can see in here are these propylene glycols, these vegetable glycerins. These are the stabilizing agents. This is where that vitamin E stuff comes in that you guys hear. So we don't know what's in cigarettes. We don't know. And again, let me kind of make this point, is there is, I don't do that. There is, mine's not that bad. There is no any of those things. Because we don't know, A, what's in it. All the different substances have been associated with death, injury, hospitalizations. So you can't say, I don't do that, because we don't know what that is. So, how many of you guys heard of Juul? Most people heard of Juul, right? It's kind of just a generic term we use now for vaping. It's just juuling, right? So, who thinks Juul contains nicotine? Good. Who knew 6 months ago Juuls contain nicotine? Good. Excellent. So this is what they see right on their website. A nice big arrow saying that this is a nicotine-containing product, right? I think that they've changed this, because they used to hide that. Because the nicotine is what's going to get you addicted. That's what's going to keep you coming back. So, nicotine isn't that bad for me. Do you guys understand what nicotine is? So nicotine is the addictive substance. That's what keeps you coming back. They get you with the flavoring. They keep you coming back with the nicotine. The nicotine is what distracts you. The nicotine is what gets you so hyper-focused on wanting that vaping, that pen, that pod. It's what prevents you from talking about other stuff in class. It's what prevents you from dealing with homework. It's what prevents you from talking to your friends with anything else. All you can think about is nicotine, 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 nicotine. In the news a lot these times are heroin. In the news these times a lot are other addictive substances. What you can see is that nicotine's about 8 times more addictive than heroin. Unfortunately, I have a lot of people in my clinic that are addicted to drugs. That they've fortunately been able to get off heroin. They've fortunately been able to get off the drugs, but they just can't quit the nicotine. And you know what they say? They wish they never started. It's a heck of a lot easier to never start than it is to quit. Because the nicotine changes the brain. It changes the receptors. It changes the physiology of your brain. It's not easy to overcome. And that's the whole challenge. So what does it damage? Attention, learning, mood, impulse control, memory formation. All those things, this is hard enough being a teenager, let alone having something else already kind of damaging this. So that's what the nicotine does. And not only does it set you up for what's going on now, it sets you up for future addictions later. Again, the addictive personality, I don't care. It doesn't matter. This stuff is addictive. This stuff does prep you for more. All right, but I'm not addicted. I just like it. I do it with my friends. I do it on the weekends. I'm not addicted. So, unfortunately, a little technical difficulties, but there's 2 parts to the addiction. When you see the addiction, there's the physical changes that come with addiction. There's the shaking, there's the tremors, there's the sweating, there's the anxiety, the palpitations, the heart's racing. All you can think about is getting more nicotine into you. That's one part of addiction. The other part is the emotional, the irritability, the anger, the frustration that comes with just saying, I just need more nicotine, I need more nicotine. That's addiction. That's what addiction is. So, with the Juul, you guys are their customer base. One of the good things we've seen is that smoking is dramatically dropping. Not nearly as many people now are smoking regular cigarettes as what happened before. But this is costing those big companies a lot of money. So what they do now is they've gone towards the Juul. And Juuling uses these things called nicotine salts. Nicotine salts are basically highly concentrated forms of the nicotine. It's about 3 times as much as you would get in a regular vape. And that's what kind of makes Juul special. It doesn't have the bad taste, it doesn't have that bad smell, it doesn't stick to your clothes, stick to your hair like the cigarette does. But it does a great job of getting you just as addicted. I vape, I don't smoke. I think of all the myths, I think this is the one that is the hardest. Vaping is just smoking by a different name. That's all it is. So what they want to do is make people feel better by saying, I'm not a smoker, smoking's disgusting, I just vape. It's the same thing. It's literally the same thing. Rather than smoking a tobacco leaf, you're heating up a liquid and inhaling it. It's the same thing. And then, so I was reading more about this recently, and there is a difference, and I will grant you that, is that I don't think smoking and vaping is a fair comparison. I think vaping and crack is actually probably a better comparison. The damage that, as a lung doctor, I see is more similar to what I see with crack cocaine than to what I see with cigarettes. Very rarely does a cigarette kill you quickly. It kills you slowly. Vaping, on the other hand, kills you quickly. In a matter of days is what it kills you. It's already killed 47 people. So I think that when people try and make this argument of, I don't smoke, I just vape, it's better for me than vaping, I think that's a false argument. What I say to that is, okay, you're not going to jump off a 200-story building, you're going to jump off a 150-story building. Does that sound safer? No, it's a false equivalency. When I say a false equivalency, you can't take one really bad thing, compare something else to it just to make yourself feel better. They're both still very, very bad. So let's kind of go quickly through this. Cigarettes deliver nicotine. So do vapes. Cigarettes want you addicted. They want your money. So do vapes. Cigarettes contain toxic chemicals. So do vapes. Cigarettes are dangerous. So are vapes. So, vaping and smoking are just synonyms, as far as I'm concerned. So, just because I vape doesn't mean I'm going to smoke. This is a gateway drug. You guys hear this all the time. I get it's a cliche. I get everything is bad. I get you guys aren't supposed to do anything. That we're beating you over the head with all this. But it literally is. It sets you up for other addictions. It sets you up for harder drugs. It sets you up for bad drugs. You're 4 times more likely to do this. And again, I get it's not me, it's not me. The short answer, it is you. It's you, it's your friends. This is the setup for it. I don't have an addictive personality. I'm stronger than that. I won't do that. I just do it for fun on the weekends. Again, it's not how it works. Do you think your brain, do you think you have a weekend brain and a weekday brain? No, it's the same thing. So what you guys do on Saturday or Friday or hanging out with your friends or after school sticks with you forever. All right. So one of the problems here is getting you guys addicted. Business, business, business. Does anyone here have a job? Does anybody work? Do you guys work hard for your money? So the point is, who wants to give up their money for something you know is going to damage their lungs? You guys work hard for it. All they're trying to do is these big companies is to get your money. They're trying to get you addicted. So you guys take the money that you make and give it right away for something you know can harm you. So how do the companies look at you? This is literally what they say about you guys. Today's teenager is tomorrow's potential regular customer. They want to play to your insecurities. Literally, the fragile, developing self-image of the young person needs all the support and enhancement it can get. They want to make smoking appear to make you feel better about yourselves. Pre-smokers is what they're calling you guys. And then young adult smokers are the only source of replacement. One of my favorite things about cigarettes is cigarettes are the only thing, when used as directed, that directly leads to death. So they gotta find a replacement, and you guys are the replacement that they want your money for. So that's what they're trying to do. So here's the tactics they used before. The one on the left is what they used for your grandparents in, say, the 1950s. They take the same ad, recycled it for you guys. If it worked on them, why wouldn't it work on you guys? So we have the airplane here. Then we go to the cowboy, cigarette on the left, e-cigarette on the right. We go to the girl in the dress, cigarette on the left, e-cigarette on the right. They're just recycling. If it worked on your parents and grandparents and got them addicted, well, I want to work on you guys. They're not even original with how they're trying to do it. So then here, Marlboro said we're losing the money, so we're going to buy some stuff, we're going to buy stock in the vaping. Say about 35% of the Juul, and that's what they're using to try and keep their market share, trying to keep their money. Because you see here, the yellow line is cigarettes. It's dropped dramatically in the last 10 years. 16% down to about 8%. But conversely, e-cigarettes went from about under 2% to nearly 20%. They see the market, they see your money. You guys are adults, educated consumers. This is what they're trying to do to you guys. They want you to buy the products, get you addicted, keep you as a customer, all for their money. Simple. The health effects doesn't matter. What's in it doesn't matter, as long as we get your money. So, what this talk is designed to make you guys informed consumers. I want you guys to understand what they're trying to do. I want you to understand the myths that are being propagated. The safety things that they're saying are not true, why they're doing it. So that way, when you leave here, what you guys put into your lungs is your decision. Again, you have to live with the consequences of your decision. That you don't get a do-over, you don't get a second chance, you don't get to restart the video game or restart whatever else. What you do now sticks with you. So the better decisions you guys make now, the better off you are in the long run. So one of the things we talk about is the THC. It's not just THC products. THC is the active thing in marijuana. But again, they're finding at least 20% of these 2,300 cases had nothing to do with THC. This all comes back to but I don't do that, just does not exist. No single product, nicotine, THC, flavored only. It's all bad, period. So dabs. Right, I get it. This is a couple years ago, I'm out of date. But this is not the kind of dab I'm talking about. Who's heard of this dab? How many adults have heard of this dab? Right, so this is, I understand this is popular. So this is an ultra concentrated form of the marijuana. It's basically an oily, waxy substance that I know this is pretty popular in the Lehigh Valley. This stuff's just as bad for you too. This has the same kind of waxy substances. This is the same stuff that makes people really sick and can kill you. So it's not just fine, I don't vape, even call it by a different name, you don't say dab. It's the same outcome. I've seen the same patients with this. So just because you think it's different, it's not. So then, again, this is not just affecting the lungs, this can affect everywhere. These are little batteries, little generators that you have in your pocket, and they've exploded. So for this guy, it's exploded and burned his face, burned his cheeks, not just his lungs. So, the take-home points for you guys, what I want you guys to remember is, there's no such thing as safe vaping. Comparing it to cigarettes doesn't make it better than cigarettes. Comparing one bad thing to another bad thing doesn't make it good. I robbed a bank. I robbed a convenience store. Why did I rob a bank? It doesn't make it better for you guys. There is both short and long-term damage. Vaping is smoking by a different name. We can't help you. If you do it, no, fine, you did it, who cares? We need to help protect you from now on. There are ways. Talk to online, you can find help. Talk to your parents, teachers, doctors, doesn't matter. There is help available. And this is your health. I go home to my family. You guys go home to your family. You guys have these set of lungs for the rest of your life. The damage you cause now sticks with you when you're 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. So it's not, as much as you guys feel invincible, as much as you guys think this won't happen to me, as much as all those thoughts, again, I remember sitting in your shoes, sitting in your seats not too long ago, unfortunately, and having the same thoughts, but it's real. So why else should you care? These things are trashing the environment. These things are trashing the environment. You're finding all the pods, all the everything all over the place. So again, environment, and then again, it comes back to just take your money from the tobacco industry. Take pride in yourself, take care of yourself, and make the best decisions you guys can. So these are the kind of not being on breathe, we talked about this. And then here's a whole bunch of kind of websites. We have a couple seconds, a couple minutes left. I want to open up the questions for you guys. I want to hear what you guys are thinking, what thoughts you guys have, what questions I can directly answer for you guys. Does anybody have any questions? Is everybody ready for Thanksgiving? All right, well, I appreciate you guys' attention. Thank you guys so much for having me here.
Thank you guys again for your attention. This presentation, again, was just to inform you of the negative effects that vaping have on each and every one of you. So please, again, take note to the important information that Dr. Corbin shared with you. Please give him one last round of applause. And momentarily, Mr. Heffernan will be on the intercom to just dismiss you to your next period, which is going to be period 4. We hope all of you have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Just stay seated until you hear the announcement. Thank you.